I'm going to try to give you an idea of how I installed this backsplash. So the first thing you need to do to prepare is the layout. Layout is extremely important, especially when you got a feature like this, and you need to know exactly where your feature is going to go before you start. Put some lines on the wall and determine exactly the position of your feature. Once you know the position of your feature, then you need to take into consideration the rest of the backsplash and know more or less where all your cuts are going to be. It has a lot of elements to it. It's got the 3x6 tumbled marble, it's got the chair rail tumbled marble, it's got the black mosaic border, and it's also got the tumbled marble mosaic tile in the inside the feature. The best way to approach something like this is to get as much of it cut as possible before you actually put it on the wall. So I lay it out on a flat surface. In this case I use the actual countertop, and I cut as much of it as I possibly could so that I could just pick it up and put it in place. And that you're ready to start installing. So first of all, you got to get a ledger board between the space of the countertops where the stove goes, and then you're going to put some adhesive on the wall. In this case I used mastic because there's no wet area. You just want to make sure that you use a mastic that is good for marble, because some mastics can stain marble. And then very carefully and patiently you just start picking up the pieces and moving them over to your wall and putting them in place. And I'm using 1/16 of an inch horseshoe spaces here to make sure that nothing slides down and everything has the correct grout line between them. Once you have everything that was pre-cut on the wall, now you're going to do the rest, which is those little parts of the curve that need to be cut in one at a time and just put in place as you go along. In this, you want to make sure that that you keep it neat, you keep it straight, and don't rush it. Make sure that the mastic that you put on the wall has not skin over and that it's still sticking to the tile. And once this part is done, the really hard part is finished. The rest of the backsplash is going to be a lot easier. So take your time and don't rush, and make sure everything stays in place as you're moving along. With this feature, it's time to move along to the rest of the field tile. Now this should have been laid out so that you know what kind of cuts you're going to get, and you don't want to get any slivers anywhere. So the only other hard part is going to be above the curve. And what I would suggest when you do something like this is cut your piece, check to see if it fits, and then if it fits, put some mastic or some thin set, whatever it is you're using for adhesive, and put in place and move on to the next one. And once you got all the difficult cuts done, then you can move on to the rest of the field tile. This is all tumbled marble, as I had said earlier, and none of this can be cut with a cutter. It has to be cut with a wet saw. You won't be able to score and snap this stuff. You will need a wet saw. And I am using mastic on this backsplash because there is no water. Even at the sink there's a granite piece under the window there, so there's no water whatsoever in this that's going to affect this backsplash. So once all the tile is on, you will have to grout it. And before you grout it, you want to seal this tile before you grout. All the tiles installed, you're going to let it set, and then you're going to come back and grout it. We are going to use unsanded grout because the grout lines are very narrow. They're a 1/16 of an inch, and the way you do this is you apply some grout to your backsplash. You start in one area and you move along, and you go for about 15 minutes or so. By the time you're gone that 15-minute period, the part that you started with will be set up enough usually that you can start washing it off. And that's the way I usually do it anyway. So you're going to use clean water, you're going to use a damp sponge, get as much water out of the sponge as possible, and then you're going to just wash it off. And then once that's all done, you get some color matching caulk, and you caulk everywhere there's a change of plane or there's a corner. And you want to make sure that you caulk those areas, because over time it'll just crack and you're going to have to do it anyway. So that's basically how this backsplash was installed.